Miss Mercedes is waking up, okay? And someone said she put up too much weight. You should not say those things to a lady. But she took it very seriously, and she went on diet for like a week now. And she lost about 10 pounds only in about a week. So we will see how she looks now. And she's going to talk about immigration problem, because we all know there is something going on in South America. Now they're approaching Mexico. Okay, talking about 7,000 to 10,000 people march caravan to US. But I have different idea. I have different view upon this topic. But she doesn't know that I'm going to challenge her with the question. So let's see. This is not a plan, okay? So when we are on fire, you will see the difference. Now she's coming.
I need this before I can do anything.
Why you carry a pair of...
If you can dress up, so can I.
Oh.
And you need to put this on me.
Oh, okay. Now here she is.
I'm on the wrong side today.
You're on the wrong side?
Yeah, I'm on the wrong side.
Okay, we change.
Yeah, sorry. So sorry. I just realized I'm like, no, this is my bad side. You move that, I'll just slide this over, okay?
Yes. Okay, let's start again.
Sorry,
Yes.
This is my side.
Yeah. She is at the left, the right side.
He doesn't
Okay.
know what he's saying. Anyway.
So what are you going to talk today?
You're going to talk about today.
What I can talk about today?
Good.
I'm a good student.
Yes, good student. Okay. Well, I don't know if anyone is looking at the headlines. Everybody likes to talk about Trump, apparently. So, what we kind of wanted to point out was that the Chinese are not the only ones that Trump is picking on. Mm-hmm. And a prime example is going on right now. Mm-hmm. There is a migrant caravan heading from South America to the United States. They're in southern Mexico right now. Mm-hmm. Apparently by foot, it's grown to between 7,000 and 10,000 migrants from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Oh, please. You interrupt me. I don't care if I'm off. Please.
I want you to be the center.
No, it's fine. Okay? Don't worry about any more positioning. We're done now, right?
No.
Done.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. I need my glasses.
Yes.
So that's happening. Sorry.
You're a school teacher anyway, so.
Yep. So anyway.
As sexy as without.
Cut.
Okay.
Cut. I can't concentrate.
So in recent videos, we talked about the China-US relations. So many Chinese viewers came to even the English version, say why Trump pick up China all the time. But today we'll talk about a topic. It proves that Trump does not only pick up China. Actually, he picks on everybody. Okay, here we go. The lady have the story.
Okay. Well, my glasses are going to go on here so that I can get numbers correct. And these are all taken from recent news articles. Well, I don't know if anyone watches the news. Everyone seems to like to criticize Trump, at which, hey, go for it. It's a free country here. So anyway, sorry. Right now there's a migrant caravan, is what they're calling it, from South America with people from three key South American countries. I'm sure more along the way have gathered from other countries. But apparently it's grown to between 7,000 and 10,000 people. okay, in this caravan. Now, these are people primarily from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. All right? Now, what they are hoping to achieve, this is not some kind of protest. Okay? This actually does happen every year. Caravans, these large amounts of people. And actually last month, 160 some people just last month, together as a group, came to the U.S. border to seek asylum. Okay, they were from Mexico. And this happens every month. There are large groups. And every year there's usually a pretty large caravan. So this isn't unique. But this one is for some reason getting a lot of news, and it's grown to between 7 and 10,000. And they're not coming from Mexico, which is where they're normally coming from. They're coming from South America.
Honduras,
Guatemala, and El Salvador.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, they are claiming that they are fleeing the gang violence and the corruption in their home countries, the poverty. They can't find jobs. The jobs don't even exist. Okay? And I believe it's, is it Guatemala has the highest death rate by homicide in the world. Okay? If I'm wrong and it's Honduras, please correct me, but I know it's not El Salvador. So it's either Guatemala or Honduras. I believe it's Guatemala. So that's what they are claiming that they are fleeing for. Now, mind you, please pull out a map and take a look at the distance between these countries in South America and the U.S. southern border of Mexico and Texas. And they're walking, supposedly walking. All right? Now, I don't know about the fact, the fiction, who has started this. Midterm elections are coming. All of these people, how are they eating? They're going through poor countries, so those poor countries can't feed them. So are these sponsored? There are a few conspiracy theories that it's Democrats sponsoring to do something, I don't know, against Trump with the midterm elections. And some say it's Republicans sponsoring to garner more support for Trump and say, see, we need stronger borders, which is actually what I see happening in the comment sections. Anyway, you should know that the things that are happening, it's not, from what I can see, it's not isolated to like particular countries that are being so-called like demonized or punished. It has to do with violating of U.S. laws. Okay? So what do you think?
Okay, I before I make comments, I make 2 points first. Okay, first of all, this marching it happened in the Chinese history. It's called Long March. Okay, Long March is the Red Army, which led by Chairman Mao Zedong, and they are trying to escape the chasing from Chiang Kai-shek, the Kuomintang, and they marched 25,000 kilometers to end up in somewhere. So the long march for freedom, for better life. I think this is human rights. Everyone has a right to have a better life. Okay, when you talk about, by the way, this is my first point finished. Okay, long march. People march for better life, for the freedom. Just to have a better life, have a safe life for their children. I think I am from China. You know, I understand the time when I wanted to get out of China. I really would risk my life for my freedom. Okay, this is one point I have made. The second point is, by the way, lady, where are you from?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
U.S.
But you don't look Indian.
Oh, Native American Indian, you mean? No, my family is originally from Germany.
See?
Yeah.
She's immigrant.
But I think a little French thrown in there somewhere.
Okay, and Trump's wife does not look very much American.
Actually, you know what? I have a list, and if you want to look it up, actually, it's a really great thing about America that I agree with. Okay, you're getting into two different topics right now. I do believe you're kind of skewing things. You're not staying on this topic. That we were talking about. But anyway, I have a list of U.S. politicians that are foreign born. And they are from all over the world. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity. Okay? Follow the rules, and you can be a player.
Yeah. Okay. Don't mistake me. I'm a very good program hoster. I drag you to somewhere else, and I will take you back.
Okay, because I didn't finish on this.
Yes, this is why.
You just took it and ran.
Yeah, this is why I said I made this as a condition that American is immigrant country, and everyone is immigrant, and you guys only come a little earlier. Why you have the right to refuse others? So that is the thing we need to talk. Why we born in America, we're immigrants generations ago, but now we have the right to say no to others.
Well, there are different policies that are in place now, and it was laws are made so that they can keep order. And the reason we obey laws, for instance, traffic laws, are you going to run through red lights and stop signs? Why not? Why will you obey that? Why do they give tickets for that? And the police here are very active in those things. It's for your safety and the safety of others. Okay? So, of course, if there's an unjust law, that's our duty to protest it and get it changed. And that happens. Okay? And that should be everywhere in every country. So, why do you think that what do you think, that the border should just be open and free and no visas and everything and everybody can just come? That would be total chaos. What would people do when they came here? Would they just do the same thing that they did in their old country and then it becomes like their old country?
I will answer your questions after you have finished what you want to say, because I do have my idea. I do have my answers to this question, but I don't want to interrupt you again and to make you.
It's too late, though. You completely blew my flow.
So what
you just totally took it in another direction. You didn't bring it back.
Okay. So, now I talk and I let the lady have time to think what she wanted to talk, okay? For me, is that U.S. was a land, of course, that's 100 years ago, belonged to the native Indians, and the Europeans came here, took over the land, but it was also the Europeans that built up this country from scratch, from nothing. Okay, when they came here, there's no building, there's no Las Vegas, there's no strip, no nothing. They use their own power. Of course, they use other people too. And anyway, they built up their own society and made up their own laws. So this is why we came here, we agree that we make this law, everyone should obey. This is why we said someone come earlier. Yes, they are creators. They create this society, they create this country, then they have the right to protect their own interest. Okay, there is no 100% complete just in the world. There's nothing like that. Okay, it's a comparatively. But now it is like that. The U.S. is governed by the U.S. government, and Donald Trump is the president, and he is the one to make the policy. And then
he's the one to suggest policy and then to make sure policy is followed through upon. He's not the one who passes it. We do have checks and balances, which are very important.
Yeah, okay. Three power separated. Okay. Now, I have my idea. I can go on for another 2 hours.
So stop.
But
because you can do that in Chinese later. Okay? In your room. Yeah. My point, and the whole point of this, was that China's not being picked on uniquely. Okay? Now, the reason I say this is this caravan that's happening with this 7,000 to 10,000 immigrants that are coming. The three main countries that they are supposedly coming from Now, they receive over $500 million in aid every year from the United States to help improve their societies, their countries. Their governments are supposed to be using this to create jobs, to help people stay in their own country, improve their own country. Instead, they have chaos. What it sounds like is complete and utter, complete and utter corruption, and it's being pocketed by the politicians. So this money is not being used effectively. So now Trump said any country that has let their people come out and join in this thing and is not creating a better life and doing what they're supposed to, he said, I'm going to cut their aid. At the very least, drastically reduce it. So China, you're not being picked on, because Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador may actually lose $500 million a year that they are given by the United States. Given. Okay? Just given in aid. And Mexico is doing, is trying to keep them in Mexico, offering them asylum in Mexico, telling them if you do cross over into the U.S. during an asylum application, then it will be canceled and you won't be able to come back and apply again for asylum in Mexico. So if you're rejected in the U.S., you won't be able to go to Mexico. You have to go all the way back home. In addition, the other thing, Trump has done away with the separating of families with immigrants coming in, taking the children away from the parents. In illegal immigration, immigrants coming in. And now what he said is they're seriously looking at, first up, they're going to call up the National Guard, which are the military kind of that are allowed to operate inside the United States. The active military is not allowed to operate in the United States except for drills and things like that. Okay? So the National Guard, he's looking at calling up, which I think he already has called up to prepare, but they're still pretty far away, like 1,100 miles away in Mexico still. And in addition, he has said he's going to give them two choices. All right, he's going to say, look, number one, your children, because they say this is a lot of mothers with children. This is families, not fathers, mothers, and children. It's mothers and children who have made this trip, which is very unusual. It's usually men or women, not all these children that they're bringing this time. So he said, okay, you have two choices. You'll have the choice to have your children put into foster care in the U.S. while you remain in holding in jail at the border or wherever they're going to do it. And in that case, your children can start their life in the United States, but you can't stay with them. They have to go into foster care. Or you can agree to stay incarcerated in jail as a family, and then you would waive the right for your children to get out within the 20 days, which is standard. Okay? So he's hoping that this will be a deterrent, because who wants their kids taken away, and who knows how long it's going to take. Because another thing that he's looking at doing is saying that, okay, it's also going to be on a first come first serve basis. So 10,000 people in a queue, by the time they get to the 10,000th person's application process in seeking asylum, and then it goes through all of the checks that has to go through, and judges or whatever have to happen. That's going to be many, 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 many years, possibly. So he's hoping these things would be a deterrent, and they will see that it's just not worth it. And of course, the people that are in those border states, especially Texas and Arizona, they're panicking. They're absolutely panicking with the thought of this influx of immigrants. And of course, these are people who are seeking a better life and getting away from the violence in their home countries. But all of the energy that they just put in trekking how many miles from South America? Supposedly walking, they could have put maybe that energy into storming their government and getting things figured out for themselves. So anyway, just so you know, actually the comments that I'm seeing, a lot of Americans, okay, they're obviously rallying now, and what looked like a Democratic victory coming in the midterm elections may actually turn. And I think it's either a really good strategy and not even real that's happening, or it was just perfect timing. But know that China is not the only one.
Okay. Let's put down the conspiracy theory as face the fact, face the as if it is true, okay? So the weather is also influenced, right?
Well, actually, there is Hurricane Wilma. And I saw this separately, okay? These weren't in an article or anything together. But of course, scanning through the news, we've had a lot of hurricanes hit the United States lately. It's not just Southeast Asia that's getting pummeled. Also, the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf states there are really getting pummeled. Florida, the panhandle of Florida really got wiped out by Hurricane Michael. Now, this is Hurricane Wilma. It's not a hurricane yet. It hasn't hit land yet. It's a Category 4, I believe, right now.
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. And they are predicting that it's going to hit the west coast of Mexico and then actually go all the way up to Texas as a very strong tropical storm, at least. So the people that are doing this in this caravan are still below that. They just passed the southern Mexican border. They just crossed that the other day, like yesterday, I think. So this is cutting almost exactly in the middle at the west coast of Mexico. It hits the middle and then it travels up to the southernmost point of Texas. And that would be absolutely devastating for Mexico, obviously, but devastating for these people too. I mean, they left their home, they go through all of this, and how friendly are the people of Mexico going to be? All of these refugees coming through, and their lives are in a mess because of a hurricane.
Yes. First of all, I must say I feel sorry for all those people. They have all my sympathy, and I feel pain in my heart for all those people. They are seeking for better lives. But on the other hand, if they got through this time, then this is not the last time. There are many, many more people in South America, especially Venezuela, country like that.
Venezuela, yeah.
Yes, and America just cannot take that many people.
What are they going to do? I just wonder, what do they think they're going to do when they come here? The huge difference in the culture of like Southeast Asia and here, I don't know about China, I'm not sure, but in Malaysia, a lot of people have maids from Indonesia. And it's just it's a part of their culture. It's fine. They share their home with a person. The person gets a job. There are some controversies in there as well, and some ill treatment in the news and the headlines. But anyway, that's besides the point. In America, we don't have a history. We don't have a culture of having domestic servants. Maybe nannies, but that was a long time ago. Now it's babysitters and such, or really rich people have maids and things like that. But these people are going to come here not speaking any English, most likely. They've walked here. If they were wealthy or more educated, they could fly here. And they could have applied properly for refugee status from their home country instead of come seeking asylum.
Of course, that will never going to happen. They will never be approved.
But what are they going to do when they get here? If they could, okay, theoretically, okay, we all know that traditional American dream. When my family came over here, though, they had skills. They were, the one side, they were farmers, okay, and the other side, they were bakers. Now, he came here, they came here, and they were farmers and they were bakers. That's what they did. They had their trades. They weren't illiterate. They interviewed a 16-year-old boy that's on this caravan, and he's never been to school a day in his life. He can't read. He said he wants to come to the U.S. for an education. Okay, and I understand that he's 16 years old, and I would love for him to get that education. But all of these people are most likely coming here in a similar state, even as adults, with no education. They can't even read in their own language, much less English.
Yes, all the leaders in the world, include Donald Trump, Xi Jinping, and anyone else, please listen. This is a genius, a violin maker, give the best solution to solve the world problem.
Yeah?
Yes, please listen, okay? I'm not going to run any presidency, but I think I have the solution.
But you could be a senator.
But I have the solution, okay? Of course, this is a dream solution. World dream, not American dream, okay? So, U.S. sent so much money to all those countries to help those countries to stabilize their country, to make the country better. So much money, but the U.S. don't know where the money is gone.
They probably do an accounting for it, because when I worked for the Auditor General's Department of Pakistan, I know that they did keep track of, or supposedly keep track of, where all of the aid money went, because I also worked for an NGO who I just did some cleanup of translations for.
I want to wait for this truck. This is just too noisy. Okay, the truck is gone. Good. I have the best solution. I have not the best solution. I have the solution. I say it again. U.S. spends so much money on all these countries to trying to keep the stability of the country and make the people stay in their own country. Great, but they have to keep giving money every year, and now has proved money doesn't work at all, and the people will come again and again. This is going to be never end story. Okay, so that means American first, make America great again, won't work. If the other countries are not great, only American great, people will come, will constantly have a problem. Okay, and also give aid, give money is also not a solution. So my question is, why, as Miss Mercedes also said, if they have the energy to march such a long distance, why don't they use energy to build their own country, to be a better country, to be a country that other people would like to stay? Even Americans would rush to their country.
True.
Okay, I know many Americans, they go to Thailand, they go to Guatemala. No, not Guatemala. I forgot the country.
You've been to them all.
Yeah, yes. Yes, actually, I have been to all these countries. I love all these countries. El Salvador, beautiful
you don't
Guatemala.
Go there now, though.
Not at this very moment. Okay, I actually walked across all the borders myself. You know, I love South America and Nicaragua. Nicaragua was the country. Many Americans retire in Nicaragua. So, and what is the problem with these countries? For example, Venezuela was one of the richest countries in South America with such rich oil. What went wrong? And also, Zimbabwe in Africa was one of the richest countries in Africa. So it is the political system. It is that they don't have the system to protect their people.
And also, okay, and I'm not trying to take sides here again, but just pointing out a fact, which is you can understand why so many Americans are supporting Trump, because he's actually trying to protect us. At least that's how we feel. Because if you see 7,000 to 10,000 people coming at your border and you live in one of those states, do you think you'd be a little bit scared?
This is why I don't support Trump, because I think Trump is so selfish, only working for the American people. Trump should work for the whole world. He should be the president of the globe. He should make the world great again.
I don't think he
Very
wants
selfish.
to. He doesn't want to. And the people don't want him to. like other countries. They want their independence. All of these South American countries, that if you I don't know for sure, but all these people that are migrating to the United States right now, if you said, okay, go back and we'll take over your government and we'll teach you how, I'm sure they have a lot of patriots. Even the people who are fleeing, they have a lot of patriots because they come here and they fly their Guatemalan flags and everything, which is great. Because I'm sure in the past, even maybe my family was happy, but they used to hide where they were from. Like not German nationality, but like Italian, Irish had a really hard time. And my family came before the world wars, so they didn't have that backlash so much. But every immigrant wave and ethnicity that comes has a hard time. And it's just a part of it. But and they keep a pride in their heritage for at least a generation, maybe two. But they totally embrace U.S. But if the people could go and overthrow their government, or if they could, they don't. But everybody's too arrogant too. They'll say, "Oh, we know how to do it. Why are you trying to tell us what to do? Go away. We'll just take your money. Give it. No. Give us the money. Give us the money. We need the money. But we don't need you to tell us what to do."
Okay. And that won't work because the Chinese Communist Party overthrown the old Kuomintang government, and they have been working for 79 years now, and it won't. Of course, it's getting much greater than before. But even the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government does not want American go away. They say you should stay. You should take more responsibility as the world's largest country, strongest country in the world. You should take your responsibility, and you're a rich country. You have responsibility to help the world. And give money is not the only solution. Of course, we welcome money, but this is exactly why the Peace Prize winner Liu Xiaobo said the only hope for China is U.S. colony 300 years.
Wow.
Okay, he said to me 200 years personally, but he said it in public later 300 years.
He rethought it, huh? He rethought it.
He thought 200 wasn't enough. So it says that China's only hope. But I think he meant not colony actually by reality, but by culture.
But how could, I don't see how culture could be forced.
Yes.
You can't force people. You can't force people to change their culture.
Now I have the solution. Okay, all the leaders in the world, pay attention again. This is violin maker Daniel's solution. The violinist, violin maker, and the violin expert have the solution for the whole world great again. That is, instead of give money, or plus, in addition of give money, we should export politicians. Yeah, yes, see? And
people wouldn't have it. They would kill them. It would be the same thing. It's like, give us your money, go away.
Look, there are so many volunteer groups. They go to poor countries.
Yeah, but
they build up will. They build up school. They help people. That's on a small scale. Yeah. But the politicians, Americans, they like Hillary Clinton, she doesn't have a job now. She was applying for a secretary job, and she can go to El Salvador to be the vice president.
She was a secretary of state, you weirdo. That's not a secretary job.
Okay.
That's a whole different thing. Anyway, you need to learn.
Anyway, and like Obama is, instead of playing golf, he can go back to Kenya to help their own people, and also not only not the small bush. Okay, the small bush you can go to fishing. It's okay. Not him. Okay.
I think he can't do anything.
And like a Gore.
It's like Forrest Gump.
Like a Gore. He was the vice president, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of going environmental, he can go to Mexico.
No, he should go to he should go to places that have very high pollution and help them clean up their pollution.
I think U.S. should export politicians. You retired politicians, senators. You ran out of your a turn, or you retired, you still want to work for people for to make the world great again, you should go to all these poor countries, help the government. The U.S. the only thing to solve this problem is to change the political system of the whole world and export the American system to the world.
Okay, but listen. In theory, that might sound like something that could happen, but it's not something that could happen because each and every country has its right to say no. No, we don't want you here. We don't want to do your system. So then, if America says, "Oh, we're going to cut your funding if you don't," then America's a bully because, of course, we're just supposed to give money. It's like being. U.S. has been put in a position of being like the parents. Okay, your kid comes to you and they want to go to a movie and you give them money. Okay, and they just keep coming back because they're not old enough to work. But when they get old enough to work and they still keep coming to you, it's like, oh, dude, you need to get a job if you want to go to the movies. Okay, so when does that time come? Then, like you were saying, what is his name? I'm so sorry. The Nobel Peace Prize winner.
Liu Xiaobo.
Okay. Why would America want to have China as a colony for 300 years? Why? We have our own problems here. We've got 10,000 people about to try to cross our border. We've got things we need to take care of. We're only 300 million people.
So you mean my genius solution won't work?
I just don't think China would ever have any part of it.
Okay, I'll go back to making my violins. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then politics is not my cup of tea. I worked so hard for this idea.
Don't worry, I'll cheer you up later.
Really? With high heels?
Oh, yeah.
Private. Shaking.